Okay, we're going to move on from that role because time. Next role. Who is the next? So you got the guests to come in the door. What club officer role is responsible for their next connection to the club?
Sergeant
I hear membership, Sergeant Arms. Membership, Sergeant Arms. Okay, who votes for membership? Who votes for Sergeant Arms? Whoa, it feels like a split. Well, those who voted for Sergeant Arms, Kieran, sorry, you are the number one person. You are the first person that the guest is likely to engage with. Not directly, but you heard Sandra, wherever she went, say that the responsibility of the Sergeant Arms is to be the greeters, to greet those guests when they come in the door, or to assign a greeter. They don't have to actually be the greeter to make sure that there's a greeter assigned. That is the responsibility of Sergeant Arms. But also, what does the Sergeant Arms do that affects that guest significantly?
Provide the welcome material.
Maybe.
A greeting.
A greeting for sure, yeah. But what else do they do besides a greeting?
Set up the room.
Set up the room. Thank you. That's the one I was looking for. Although there could be other things. But why is setting up the room important? It is welcoming. What does it also do?
They're at the right place.
Is this a Lions Lodge or is this a Moose Club? Oh, no, yeah, okay, it says Toastmasters. Good, I'm in the right spot. Thank you.
Well organized.
Well organized. But what does that mean? What is the impression that a guest is going to get if they come into a room that is set up properly? Organized, and it may be fun. It may be that they're going to have fun depending on what paraphernalia you have around the room. It's organized, and if the meeting starts on time, because usually a Sergeant Arms, although not always, may gavel the meeting or start the meeting, they do that. If they welcome the guests in, they set the tone. And that first impression, as you know, a first impression is a powerful thing. So the Sergeant at Arms has a very critical role in the club. Now, it doesn't have to be the Sergeant at Arms role, club officer role, that does it every week for the club, or that does all of that tasks. They can assign those roles and duties to other people. And you should always have a backup anyway. Have a backup plan, because the Sergeant at Arms can't be at every meeting. Not often, not always. So they should have a backup plan. What else does the Sergeant at Arms do?
Sets the tone for the meeting.
Sorry?
Sets the tone for the meeting.
They do, and that is kind of what I talked about kicking off the meeting. It does set the tone, which is a very important thing. So the tone. So if you have a light, fun opening to your meeting, people are going to say, sounds like it's going to be fun, and that gets everyone going. If there's a lot of energy in the introduction that's done by the Sergeant at Arms, then there's going to be a lot more energy. At least there's a better probability of more energy throughout the meeting. If the Sergeant at Arms comes in and says, washrooms are down the hall, turn off your pagers, please welcome our chair, you're not going to have a lot of positive feel. It's not going to be a good feeling. But if they come up bright, bubbly, excited, and having excitement, I mean, you just all want to be part of it and want to be there. So it's a really critical role, setting the tone. What else are they responsible for? I'm missing one more important thing.
Guest book, you get their name, phone number, and phone.
True, but that could be the VP membership that could do that. Depends. It depends on who's responsible for the club's paraphernalia, the material, their stuff that they work with. So, yes?
Closing, cleaning up, making sure everything.
Oh, they are for that. They're responsible for making sure it's set up and closed down. That's very, very true. That isn't what I was looking for, but that is an important one. Go on, one more thing.
Opening on time.
Sorry?
Banners.
Yes, all the paraphernalia. So all of the stuff, whether you have guest books, whether you have banners, whether you have medallions, whether you have a lectern, all of that stuff, the Sergeant at Arms is responsible for making sure that it is maintained, taken care of. If you have to print off sheets of paper, that they're printed. Even if, they may assign those tasks, but they're responsible to make sure that all of the club material that is there, that is supposed to be brought into the meeting, because you're often in a place that's not a permanent gathering place. You may have a closet, but you may actually have to bring the stuff in. So the Sergeant at Arms is responsible to make sure that stuff is there. Now, I know that there's at least one Sergeant at Arms in this room who doesn't carry that stuff with them, but they make sure that the person who's responsible for carrying it brings it, and that there is someone who's going to be bringing it to the meeting. Again, they don't have to do all the stuff, but they have to make sure it gets done. They have that responsibility. Okay, so first role that the guest-to-be touches is, just recap here so far, what was the first role, club officer role that they touch? PR. Second role is? Okay, what's the third role? Okay, now membership, yeah. VP membership. VP membership. So what's the responsibility of the VP membership? That's exactly it. It's close the sale. They close the sale. And we have lots of material on how to close the sale, but they're responsible for closing the sale. What else do they do? Or how do they do it? Follow up. Guest packages, those are really important things. Having material to give to the guests when they come in the door, even though the Sergeant at Arms may hand it out to them, or the VP membership may, or someone else, but they make sure that they have that material, that they have the information about the club, maybe a Toastmaster magazine, and why not put in there a membership form that has the pricing so that they understand what it is. Now, if you're a corporate program, then you probably don't have to worry that much about that, but let them know what they're getting, and we'll give them some basic information, and then follow up with them. So that's when the guest book is important. Make sure that they sign the guest book. By the way, that goes back to one of the roles of the Sergeant at Arms is to make sure that they sign the guest book, if possible, and also to seat a guest near a member who's got some experience, not somebody who was a guest last week, but someone who's got a little bit more experience in that, so that they have someone that can tell them what's going on and help them along the way. Preferably next to the VP membership, but that's not always possible, and it's not necessary, as long as it's someone who's experienced. Okay, so we have the Vice President of Membership. No, we have the Vice President of